And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Drive By News with Seth, who's in the studio with me, right across.
Finally.
Right across the way. And then we got Ramon, our UK buddy. How you doing, man? He's always so animated. Every time we start, he's like...
Sorry, I just get excited. Sorry.
Oh, we have a lot to talk about today, so I am very excited. So without further ado, let's get our intro here in 3, 2. Well, that was a little shaky.
I don't think it'll look like that in the actual stream.
maybe not. All right, so we have plenty to talk about, and I know all three of us have seen Venom. We will do spoiler-free discussion on today's episode about that. But before we get to that, we actually have a shit ton of stuff. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. Let's see here. Well, we finally have some conclusion about the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit. She, I guess she got $40 million for it.
Yep.
Good for her.
Right. And they are on good terms with each other. She has another movie that they're working with right now called Tower of Terror, which is a Disney film, and she's still attached to that. So good for her. She won. I guess that's winning the lawsuit, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I wonder what it was like for them to actually just like Disney called her out and said that she was taking advantage of the COVID-19 situation. And I wonder if they had like a private conversation, like, "Hey, man, what the fuck? What was that about?"
Probably,
but she won her lawsuit, and that's I guess that's a plus. I mean, they tried to take advantage, and it didn't work. So excuse me, guys, I have to get the next one up.
I'm honestly surprised that she won, like, against Disney. Like, this is one person against Disney. Like as soon as I heard that this lawsuit was happening, I was like, look, I think she's right, but I was like, Disney's gonna win. Like, it's Disney. But I guess I was wrong about that.
Well, I mean, Disney, they don't have everything. I mean, law is law. If they broke their contract, then they broke the contract. That's simple. I mean, they wouldn't have paid her $40 million if the judge wasn't like, yeah, you were under a contractual agreement to do this and you didn't. So boom. Yeah. All right. But do you have any thoughts on this? Are you happy for Mr. Ramon?
Yeah, of course. Like, I think, like Seth said, it's when it all came out, I think I think we spoke about it when we first started doing this show, and I think we were both saying that at that time, no one really had like the ins and outs of what was true, what wasn't true. But it's obviously true what she was saying. And as we know, there's been other movies that have come out on the streaming platforms as well as the theaters at the same time that have been getting paid. I don't know if it wasn't Jason Momoa, it was someone else who had a movie come out. I can't remember, but anyway, it was to do with Disney. Oh no, it was The Rock, and what's in it? Yeah, that's it. So they obviously were getting paid for the because it was on Disney Plus at the same time as the theaters, yeah. And because she wasn't getting it, I know that it's something to do with contracts or whatever, but obviously she was in the right, and I think good for her. Like, there's certain people online and stuff like on videos are like, "Oh, poor Scarlett, she only got 10 million for." Whatever before, and I'm like, that's not really the point,
right?
It is the point, obviously, because she's getting paid. But if you've got a contract and you've signed a contract to do something, and they changed that, they're breaking the law and they were taking advantage. So I'm glad she won. Like,
they changed the term of agreements, she, like, in her mind, she was like, "Oh, I'm technically should make at least $50 million out of this." Yeah, she only gets 10, and she's like, "What the fuck?" Where's the streaming revenue money at, guys? But
they were just trying to pull a fast one at the end of the day, because at the end of this is never going to happen again. The pandemic, it was something that's happened in life, and they've gone, "Oh, look, there's a way we can make a little bit of extra cash here without paying someone. Let's do it." And it just kind of shows you what a lot of us know about Disney anyway, like,
or just Hollywood in general.
Yeah.
You know, they're
It's
always
just a bit that's shady in it. It really is. But it's
well. Maybe,
business. It's what people do in it. So
well, maybe this will start a trend, a trend of healthy, getting a healthy way to treat your artist, because there's another thing that has come up that is for the artist. And let's see here. Yes, Friday the 13th screenwriter Vic Miller wins copyright termination appeal to reclaim domestic rights. So we were talking about this last week by coincidence.
Yeah.
But so apparently Victor Miller has won the termination appeal to reclaim the domestic rights, which might, I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing when it comes to Marvel, because they're or Disney rather, because they're trying to keep the rights for their Avengers characters, but they're in that same termination claims act, whatever it's called, with Stan Lee and a few other artists right now.
Steve Ditko.
Yeah, Steve. Yeah. So like it'd be interesting to see if this win will affect that.
So
turnout.
let me get this straight. Is this wait a minute, I can't, because I remember we were speaking about this. Is this the guy that actually is the person that owns the original rights to Jason Voorhees? I can't remember because I've not read this.
I don't know. He is they call him the screenwriter. I'm not sure if Victor Miller was the original person to come up with that, but
I don't know anything about. I don't know much about Friday the 13th, but if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, he is the original screenwriter of the original movie and the original movie only.
Right. Okay.
So I know Jason was not the killer in that one.
No, it was Pamela, his mum.
Yeah. But he is back on top, which means we might actually get a new Friday the 13th.
I hope so. Like, with that, the reason I'm glad with that anyway is because with all of the things we discussed, like Halloween, you go with what's his name, Elm Street. All of those movies are kind of like in that same genre of like the slasher villain around the 80s and 70s and 80s. We were lucky, to be honest, when we were growing up, because we had a lot of those characters sort of created. And I think Friday the 13th is the less, I'd say, popular one in terms of like the commercial balance, because like Freddy, everyone loves Freddy. Halloween is still very relevant, as we know. It's out next week. Friday the 13th's always been like that, but for me it's always been probably my favorite because it's the first of that sort of thing I watched. But the movies ain't really that great. I love them, but it's only really the first couple that are really good movies, and the rest are a bit
well, I know we've talked about it before, but remind me, what is your thoughts of the 2009 reboot of Friday the 13th?
I'm gonna upset you because I know how much you love it, and when it first came out, I lapped it up simply because, oh wow, Friday the 13th, like we're talking now, we just want to see more of the characters we love. But when it first came out, I loved it. When I watched it again recently, I really didn't like it because it changed a lot about Jason that didn't really make sense. And I know it's kind of like a reimagining and everything, and we discuss this all the time on the show, but it's okay. I don't think it's a bad film. I think it's good for what it is, but it's definitely a reimagining, like kidnapping people and stuff like that. Jason, don't do that. Do you know what I mean? He would have chopped her head off, mate, and you know what I mean? He would have just
but they did explain it that they did that kind of like Freudian psychology.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Thought it was his mom, like
I didn't, to be honest, I don't hate it, but there's worse remakes than that one, and I will watch it. It's not one of those where I'll go, oh, it's on, I'm not gonna. I will watch it again because I do enjoy it, but and I like lots of naked women in it, but that's just me, I'm easily.
That's horror movies. I mean, horror and boobies, they go together like peanut butter and jelly.
It's the same with someone asked me earlier, what do you think of Freddy? I don't know if it was you who posted it. Someone said about Freddy versus Jason. What do you think? I personally think it's a brilliant film. But if I was to use my brain as a person of the general public, it's pretty bad. Like it goes down to personal taste and what I think everyone else would think. I think because I just love it, just because again, it's just to get a bit of Jason and a bit of take what you can get kind of thing.
I I love the concept of it, and the movie is good enough in its own right, but like it's one of those movies that's stuck in like the early 2000s, like, filmography, so
Yeah.
like it's definitely, you can definitely tell that it came
Yeah.
out in a very
There's
weird
this is
cinematic time.
there's certain things with that, right, that I love. This is just shows, I'll just admit it, how pathetic I am as a man, as a horror fan, and what a nerd I am, because I know it word for word most of that movie, and that's not something I'm proud of, but there's the scene at the very beginning in the forest, and Freddy turns into Pamela Voorhees, and I want you to go to Elm Street. It's so stupid and so
Yeah,
cheesy,
yeah,
but for me, that's like golden, like Bible in horror kind of thing. It's like having like Ash from the Evil Dead turn up with Halloween. It's just like a fantasy as a kid growing up to see those characters. So I take it for what it is, and yeah, I love it for what it is.
well, there was one crossover they hinted at that we never got. It was at the end of one of the Chucky movies. Chucky was laying on the ground, and Freddy Krueger's glove comes up and pulls Chucky down, and we never got that crossover.
Yeah.
Never happened.
That's a thing that happened.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was at the end of one of Chucky's movies.
Yeah.
Did you? I feel like I've told you about this before. Did you know that there is a comic book sequel to Freddy versus Jason called Freddy versus Jason versus Ash, which
Oh
is
no,
an
I don't
Evil
know
Dead
that.
crossover?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, because again, it was all those were all that was always a talk when I was your age, Seth. That was always a thing where it was like, oh, we've got to have Ash turn up versus Michael and Jason, or you've got to have, and because Freddie and Jason happened, that was such a rare thing to get
Yeah.
even something like that to happen. So as I say, it ain't great, but I just love it for what it is. I love all the deaths in it. I got well upset even when I was in the theaters. I got upset when this is how pathetic I am and how much I love Jason. Where they're in the underground in Freddy's like dream sequence, and the water pipes come out, and Jason turns into the little boy on the floor, and I just got well upset because again I love the character so much. So that's what I mean. I'll take what I can get with it.
I actually I loved that. I loved that little sequence where he broke
Brilliant.
Jason down. Yeah, it was such a there. That movie is full of like little nuggets like that are
Yeah.
great. But again, you have this early 2000s aesthetic, behind it that just it's really
Big time.
yeah. You get that stuck. But either way, Friday the 13th screenwriter wins Termination appeal. So we'll probably start seeing some more film content come out with
I hope
that
so.
franchise. I mean, as much as I would like to see a sequel to the 2009, because I am a fan. I mean, would you guys want a reboot, or would you just want let's just continue the original saga? It's the same Jason from the first films, and now he's just here. Like, what do you guys want as a next movie? Do you want something new, or do you just want to attach to the old stuff?
I mean, I'll be quick. Sorry, Seth. I'll be quick. For me personally, if it continued with the other one, I'd be cool. Personally, if it was like someone said to me, "Right, they're gonna make a film now, and it's gonna come out in 2 years. What do you want to see?" I just want to see a load of kids go to Camp Crystal Lake and get hacked and slashed after they have sex.
Exactly.
And just I'm happy to just see all of them there. It can be modern and realistically, something like that would work. It worked, and that was sort of brought more up to date. And if it just went to Camp Crystal Lake, loads of the workers, the kids, summer camp holiday, everything's great, everything's nice. Young love, young kids, 13, 14 years old. Oh my God, my first kiss and everything. A sword machete comes out and chops one of the kids' heads off. Yes. Like,
that's the thing about the 2009 reboot is it was just that first opening sequence is like the best part of the movie.
Yeah,
it's like
that's what it's so cliche. That's what for me I love as a horror fan. It's so cliche. Oh, the girl with the fake breast, the jock dude, and then there's the weed guy, and but that's all part of it. To me, that's all I want to see.
It's the whole algorithm of it all.
Yeah.
Seth, what are your thoughts? Do you even care?
I do care.
Okay.
Oddly enough, I've said already I don't care for Friday the 13th that much, but like I think we're living in a certain time for horror movies where going back and like reviving old properties is like going very well. Like Halloween is a great example of that. Which I know wasn't a continuation of the old one, but it was a reboot, a really well received reboot. And the kind of okay Child's Play remake, but
I liked it.
I liked it at first,
it
but
was- it was fun.
after rewatching it, I kind of didn't like it that much.
It's a bit hokey, yeah.
It's fine, like 6, 7 out of 10, maybe around there. But big examples though, Halloween and It, reviving those properties enough for both of them to get sequels, and we're rumored to get It Chapter 3 at some point. So I think bringing in other films like Friday the 13th, maybe Nightmare on Elm Street, trying to revive those properties under
I'd
the
love
right
it. I'd
people.
I'd love
Is
more
a
of that.
great
Just
idea.
because there's always enough room, and I think again, horror's a bit. I wouldn't say stale, but it's like I think we've discussed before. It's kind of like it's either a haunted house movie now, or there's a doll that's come to life, and that's kind of the extent of what we get with a lot of horror movies now. So it's, I think for us it's not so fresh, but for a lot of the youngsters, they don't really know slashers as such, really.
Right. Well, and I think. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah,
you.
we don't realize for us, man, it was like 20, 25 years ago, and a lot of kids won't know about. I mean, maybe they might know a bit about Friday the 13th and Elm Street, maybe, but it's not really a common thing now where they're getting 2 or 3 movies in the theaters every year of a big hack and slash. They don't exist really.
Right. Well, I'm hoping moving forward with slasher properties and the horror genre in general that we kind of revert back to practical effects instead of leaning on CGI. That's latex and corn syrup, baby. That's what's gonna make or break.
I think it's always been better. Always.
I think out of every property, the one I want to see the most is a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Same here.
Again. And I know was it you who's always wanted Kevin Bacon?
Well, no, that's a popular fan.
That's a popular fan. Okay,
Yeah,
I wasn't sure
He
if that's
would be
what
great.
you said or
Well, he would be great, but here's my argument against that. Even though I think he would make a good Freddy Krueger, is he's only just a few years younger than Robert Englund. Like Robert
How
Englund
old is
retired because of age.
How
but,
old
like,
is that's what I know what you're saying. You need someone.
Yeah, I looked it up once, and they're only like 6 years apart. Like they're not.
wow.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, Kevin Bacon was a part of the
man.
original Friday the 13th movie, and he was about the same
Right.
age as Robert Englund when he came out with Freddy a few years
It's a
later.
bummer, in it, really, because he really would have been. Even if they did do it now, I mean, he really would be great. I think he's so underrated.
Yeah,
Kevin
well,
Bacon.
I mean,
I
what's
love
that?
him to bits.
Stir of Echoes.
Yeah,
that horror movie, Stir of Echoes.
Never seen that one.
Well, I own it. We can watch it.
I just like him. I don't know if you got it over there. I remember a few years ago there was a TV advert with Britney Spears, a phone one, and he dressed up as her and he was singing "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time," and he had the PVC leather red outfit. Have you ever seen the advert?
No.
It might have just been a British thing it was for mobile phones, and she's walking along and she's like, "Where's my phone?" And he's stalking her, Kevin Bacon, and she turns around and he's got her flipping PVC outfit, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, that's why I rate him, because he doesn't have any care or shame in the world. Like, he'll do anything for the cause of whatever it is that he's doing, and I just like him. I've always liked Kevin Bacon.
Right, Kevin Bacon. One of his '80s horror movies scared the crap out of me as a kid, and that's Flatliners. That movie just did me in.
yeah,
for sure. So okay, well, Friday the 13th. Hopefully, we get some more stuff coming from them since he won his.
You got me thinking now, Chef. Like, who would they get? Who would they get? That's got me thinking. Like,
I've tried thinking about it before. I don't know who they could get for free.
I'd have Benedict Cumberbatch because he's so weird of a person to.
He actually wouldn't be a bad choice.
A few years ago, there was, and this won't happen now, but a few years ago, there was all the talk about the girl who plays Nancy wanting to come back, and like Robert Englund possibly expressing interest in coming back for like one final movie.
I wouldn't give for that.
I really wish that movie would have happened. I don't think it'll happen now, but
and you never know. Never say never.
Know. That's why I'm saying I don't think it'll happen. Like,
how old is
maybe
he? Robert Englund, do you reckon?
How old? 60s, 70s, right?
Let me look it up.
Because Freddy never really wasn't the sort of character that had a lot of running around and stuff. It wouldn't be like he's got a, you know what I mean? I know he's like older, but it's
74 years old.
Oh wow!
I didn't I thought he was like,
well, the guy playing Michael Myers. He's almost 80, if not in his 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, because
I thought
it's
Robert
not a
Englund
lot.
would have been
It's
like
not a lot of
67 or something.
physical madness in there, is there? Really, he's only sort of have his little scenes and
Right.
that. But oh yeah, I would be the same.
Well, okay, Kevin Bacon's 10 years younger. He's 63 years old. Kevin Bacon is. But still, that's 63 is the age roundabout when Robert Englund said, I'm retiring because I'm too old for this.
Yeah.
So that would be my only concern with Kevin Bacon taking over for that. But yeah, I, if they do, okay, I'm going to throw a wrench in the plans here because I think there's a Freddy movie. If you're going to reboot a specific movie, don't go the low-hanging fruit route. Don't do the first one. Don't do the third one. I'm going to say what needs a really good reboot and could be done well if it's reimagined correctly is the second Freddy movie.
Really?
Yes.
Freddy's Revenge.
Yes, Freddy's Revenge, because all they have to do is just like actually stick to the mythology of Freddy a little bit more. But watching that movie, that like the concept of it was actually really good. Like he was trying to take over this kid's body and he ended up coming into life through this kid's body. I just love that.
I'm trying to remember which one that is. Is Freddy's Revenge the main kid is the one with like the blondish hair?
Yeah.
And he's and he starts seeing it with his hands. And that was a good film actually. Yeah.
Well, it's hated amongst Frandy fandom.
I don't think that's what I mean. Out of all of these franchises, I think the ones I'd say Friday the 13th and Halloween are the ones that get the most stupid. Freddy's gets silly, but I think in general with the amount of movies that there are, I think Halloween and Friday the 13th just get absurd. But
well, then there's also Freddy's Dead. That one got pretty absurd.
Yeah,
I've never seen that one.
Where he tried to kill a guy with a road map.
I'm pretty sure there's only two that I've never seen. I don't think I've seen. Was it the Dream Child? Is that the fifth one?
You've seen that one. That's the one with the motorcycle.
Right, but have I seen the whole thing?
I like that one.
The motorcycle is.
Oh, dude, Seth and I had this concept. Ramon, you ready for this? We had this concept that if they redid a Freddy movie, but wanted to like do a passing of the torch, that Freddy would actually choose his apprentice by picking the souls that he's collected. And I wanted that motorcycle guy to be the continuation. Like he comes back like in that same the same kind of costume that he was in, but also added Freddy fingers. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was just a weird.
It's got the one thing as well. Freddy had as well, I think, a lot over others. I mean, I like Jason. The reason he was my favorite, a bit like Michael, is that he don't talk and there's nothing. It's just silence.
Yeah.
Then out of nowhere, a machete just comes out and just kills something. You're like, oh wow.
Then he had Freddy who won't shut up.
Yeah.
Same
the thing with Freddy had some. Freddy had some inventive kills, some crazy ones.
Freddy is terrifying, way more terrifying than Jason, Michael, Chucky. I don't care. I would rather face off against any of them than Freddy because
you
can't escape Freddy.
No,
that's the thing. Like Jason, you probably won't escape, but you have a chance, like a small chance. Chucky,
Freddy's
like escape when they make it out in the movies. Michael would be terrifying to escape, but you might be able to do it.
Just stay away from his neighborhood.
Yeah. Freddy, you're not escaping him.
No, and if you do escape him, escaping him, you become tortured in life because you're sleep deprived. So escaping him actually affects you in a negative way.
I know, like we're going into all the things with all of this with horror characters. I'm so desperate. I know it sounds silly, but I'm genuinely so desperate for the youth today to have 2 or 3 of these characters, like newer. Like we were talking about redoing these characters, which would be great, but like the idea of like a dream demon it's terrifying because it doesn't matter where you are in the world, wherever you go to sleep, he's there. And there's the kids today don't have their own Freddy, they don't have their own Michael. Like they know the films that we knew growing up, but they don't really have that. And I think that's another thing I think is a real shame, because like Seth should be sitting here going, oh my god, have you seen like the Scissor Man? I'm like, what's that? And it's like the dude and his whole body turns into scissors and chops people. I'm like, what? Like they haven't got something like that. And I think it's a shame.
I think there is, but it's more of a spiritual thing, like the Conjuring series, Insidious.
Yeah.
All those things. It's more like, spiritual related as opposed to just the boogeyman or the man from your nightmares. That's a big difference.
I still have not seen a single Conjuring movie. I've heard they're really good, at least some of them, but I I've said before, I'm not really a huge horror fan, which is odd because I've been talking about horror movies for the past 20
Yeah.
minutes, like nonstop. But
I
yeah,
think
no,
with
I'm just
those, you
not
should watch
into them.
watch those if you do ever get round to watching them. Do it where it's everything's pitch black, headphones on, and just you and the TV screen,
I
and then
want to-
it will scare the hell out of you.
I want to binge the Freddy movies. All of them are on HBO Max.
Are they?
Yeah, every single one of them is on HBO Max.
Halloween's on Netflix here at the minute, so I'm probably going to do that and record the lot.
I watched Rob Zombie's Halloween. What was it, 2 nights ago now?
Yeah.
2 nights ago, I watched Rob Zombie's Halloween.
I kind of made him.
Yeah, no, he did. And all it made, the only thought I had after it ended was, I want to watch the original now. And I've never seen the original.
That's good.
So,
that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a good thing because
quick shout
sorry,
out to
'cause
Al Stewart, real quick. Just a shout out to Al Stewart. Great stream, you guys. Thank you, Al. You are more than welcome to join us. I sent the link to our group chat, so if you want to join in, you're always welcome. So thanks, Al. I appreciate you chiming in. Sorry, Ramon. Please continue.
I'm the same. When I first watched the zombie one, I went straight on and watched the other one after, and I don't think it's literally the same story, but I can watch those back to back and not be bored that I'm watching pretty much the same story because I think it's so different. It's
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I love them both.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to move on here just for time's sake, but I am looking forward to possible new Friday the 13th stories. That's good.
We went way away from Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Wait, we were talking about Friday the 13th.
We barely even talked about the lawsuit. Like we mentioned the lawsuit headline and then just started going off about everything else.
Do you know what? I've got this. I mentioned it before. This Jason here, this figure that I've got here is, I think, Jason from Friday the 13th, 3 or 4. I've had that about 15 years. And I remember when I was a kid getting this and putting it on my side, and I'm thinking, what is wrong with me to want that? Like, it's just not normal, is it? I mean, look, it's just not normal. It really isn't normal. But yeah, I love it.
I invited Al, but he says he's at the airport because Alo's at the airport because he was in Texas with a whole bunch of movie reviewers, Sean Chandler, Rudy from Rudy's Movie Reviews, and they were watching.
Oh, of course,
Zack
yeah, you said
Snyder's
earlier.
Justice League in the theaters on the big screen, and everyone says the same thing. You haven't seen this movie unless you've seen it on the big screen. So, Ramon, come to the US. We're gonna rent out a theater. Let's do this.
So, what is this the third? Excuse me. Is this the third week in a row you've brought up? No, thank you. Is this the third week in a row you've brought up your Zack Snyder's Justice League Blu-ray?
Fuck yeah, it is.
Can I hold it? I haven't held it yet. Wow, I feel special now.
You should, son. We fought hard for this.
Yeah, we did.
Oh man. Okay, so
I feel kind of like I haven't got nothing to sort of hold up. Oh wait up.
Well, you just showed your Jason.
There we go.
yeah, you showed off your Jason.
There you go.
There we go. Oh,
That's nice.
Yoda.
That's all I've got, man.
All right. So moving forward here, we have now. I know this is gonna be more Seth's territory. I don't know if you're excited about it or not, Ramon.
Yep.
Oh, well, yeah. Speaking of Baby Yoda,
Yeah, the Book of Boba Fett will premiere December 29th on Disney. Now, to me, I'm like, okay, but didn't we? I know everyone has wanted a Boba Fett show, but kind of Mandalorian took that spot, and we're like, okay, well, we'll accept this. Like, do you think this is going to be like an awesome new thing, or are we just going to be like, well, we already saw it with the Mandalorian?
you didn't watch The Mandalorian.
I watched season 1 and part of season 2.
What did you watch of season 2?
I don't remember.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So season 2, Boba Fett is in it.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, for like 3 episodes or something.
Oh,
Boba Fett is in season 2.
well,
And
okay then.
there's a post-credit scene at the very last episode of season 2, which has Boba
Spoiler
Fett.
alert.
It's been a year. There's a post-credit scene at the end of season 2 where Boba Fett goes to Tatooine. He goes back down to Jabba's palace and he kills everyone in there and sits down on the throne. And that's where it ends.
Oh,
And then,
nice.
and then that's when they announced.
Is that what this photo is? That throne?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's that throne. So it's about him like going back and like trying to become like the king of the underworld. Like,
So do you think this will kind of cross over with like the Obi-Wan series that's coming out? Do you think they're going to try to like make this kind of like the CW, cross worlds, or just going to mix these characters up and tell like their own unique stories? And
that would be a good idea if Obi-Wan wasn't dead when this show took place.
Oh God! See, this is why I need you.
Wait a minute, I'm just trying to think. Wait a minute, yeah. So it would be, of course, because it's what this is. Wait a minute, Mandalorian is well after everything, isn't it?
Mandalorian
of course it is. It's
5 years after Return of the Jedi.
That's right. Yeah.
And Boba Fett takes place right after Mandalorian, so it would also be 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Obi-Wan died in A New Hope, and Obi-Wan's show takes place, I think it's 10 years before A New Hope.
Yeah, but then but then saying that, it could appear in it because they're bound to do a lot of.
Well, Boba Fett can appear in Obi-Wan.
That's what I'm saying. There'll be a lot. I think there'll be a lot.
But Obi-Wan couldn't appear in Boba Fett.
Right. I think. I mean, it's a good theory. We'll see. Anything can happen, but I think I'm going to guess no on both. I don't think Obi-Wan will be in Boba Fett. I don't think Boba Fett will be in Obi-Wan, because I think this Obi-Wan story, they're going to really want to focus on the Darth Vader side of things, because we know officially Hayden Christensen is in it. He's coming back. He's playing Darth Vader.
I know. Why haven't we seen that story yet? Like the actual like threatening years of Darth Vader. Now I'm sure it's probably like wrapped up in the Clone Wars and the animated stuff that I've never seen before. But I don't know if it is or not.
It's not.
Okay. Well,
I think they might. I think they
Vader
explore it more in the comic books than anything else. They explored it more in the older video games, but when Disney bought Star Wars, they were just like, yeah, no, these games aren't canon anymore. So that sucked. But no, because when they announced this show, or at least announced that Hayden Christensen was coming back, they said he's playing Darth Vader, and they said that this is going to be the rematch of the century, meaning we're going to see them fight. Meaning they fought at some point between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
Okay.
So I'm excited for this. This Boba Fett and Obi-Wan are easily the two Star Wars things that I'm most excited for right now.
What about you, Ramon? Are you excited on Star Wars stuff? Where do you stand with Star Wars? Like, what's your fandom like?
For me, Star Wars, the original Star Wars movies are the best thing of all time for me. Like, we've never really gone into it. Like, for Seth, his years, it will be Marvel's equivalent to when I was a kid and you as a kid would have been New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. That was our Marvel thing, if you like. That was the thing I grew up on. So for me, they're like how Seth would view Marvel, and I think now it's I hate the new trilogy. I think the new trilogy was I don't want to, because I'll swear, but I don't like it. But the Mandalorian, I thought, right, I'll give it a go, and I was like, it's okay. And I think the Mandalorian's probably the best thing they've done since the older, the prequels and everything else, along with Rogue One. I thought was good as well.
Yes, Rogue One.
I really enjoyed.
Wasn't a fan of that. I think he wants to rewatch it. Though.
Yeah, I want to rewatch. I haven't seen it since it came out.
It's not. Again, it's that same thing. Like I said just now with Friday the 13th and everything. It's kind of I love Rogue One because it felt like Star Wars. It gave me the feeling I felt of when I was a kid watching the film. It goes like, this feels like Star Wars. It doesn't mean that it's, oh, wow, what a great film. Because I don't think it is a great film, but it's like the best of what we've got. And that's that's why I like it. I don't think it's a brilliant film, but I just to see Vader again and all that, I like it. Boba Fett. Sorry, go on.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, since... the whole Rogue One thing, they also have another kind of standalone coming out, don't they? The Andor.
I don't know. Andor, of course, yeah, Andor with the fella who's in Rogue One. Yeah, I mean, I really like Rogue One, but it's I don't know. It's not. I don't know. I can't really explain. It's a bit of it's a strange film. It's a different kind of Star Wars movie. But in terms of the newest stuff, I'm the same. Boba Fett is probably the one I'm looking forward to. Obi-Wan. The only thing I'm a bit concerned about, and I know it's just me being my normal negative self, is that I'm a bit concerned because Disney changing the name of his ship from Slave One to flipping the giant rainbow or whatever the hell it's called now. Like, I don't like. No, like, I'm a bit funny.
I didn't know that happened. They changed the name of the ship.
Yeah. The ship's just because apparently it's offensive now, and it's like, come off it, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Again, maybe I don't know if it's an age thing, but I just don't think you should tarnish and mess with things that are like iconic
You
things.
see, I think. Sorry, I didn't mean to
No, I'm
interrupt
done.
you.
No, I'm done. I'm just like, it is what it is. Like Boba Fett's always in green. That's his suit. If he comes out and he's in his suits now, no, he doesn't have. He's never had a green suit. You imagined it, wiping it out. His suit's now a bright yellow. Well, no, it ain't. Like,
Yeah, I think the name change is a kind of a misunderstanding. I can't remember what the name they changed it to is, but the name has existed for a very, very long time. It's been like
mm,
another nickname for the ship, like
mm,
already. They're just making it the main name now.
yeah.
What's it called?
I,
I can't
I
remember.
can't. Yeah, I can't
I know
remember
you
either.
won't know, but I don't know why I'm
It's
asking you, but
But I think it. No, I mean, I think I'm not overhyped for it. I'm more excited with the Obi-Wan, with the idea
oh
of
yeah.
Anakin and where that goes. But I think maybe that's a good thing because we've not really heard lots about Boba Fett, and it's only a few months. So I think that's a good thing because maybe it'll be one of those again, slow burner. It comes out, we all watch it, and we're like, "Wow, that was so cool," you know. So
Here you go, Ramon. That comment's for you.
I just said the Mandalorian is great. That's what I mean. I just said that, dude. Come off it, man. Um, No, no, I didn't want to watch it because I was put off by like The Last Jedi and all of those, and I was like, and by the end of it, I mean, you know, I've got Grogu here. Like, I think Mandalorian. That's what I'm saying. I think since the prequels, like Revenge of the Sith and that, I think it's the best thing that's actually come out that since then.
You know, the original trilogy for me, I know you said that like, Marvel to me is what Star Wars is to you.
Mm.
Not for me.
Yeah, no, Seth's been a big Star
the
Wars fan.
Oh,
original,
his whole life.
really?
Yeah.
the original Star Wars trilogy, A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi. I don't know if I'd call it my favorite trilogy of all time, but it's one of them for sure. Like,
Oh, that's cool.
I have
Oh,
kind of a lot
Well,
of
show
trilogies
show
up
your
there.
shirt right now.
Oh yeah, I'm wearing
Yeah,
a Star Wars shirt.
Yeah, sorry. Like, do you know the reason I said it? It's my bad. It's the assumption because it's just the majority
I
of.
get it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like the majority of people
Yeah.
are like, oh, it's good, but it's old, and like you say, I just think it is one of the best.
I don't care for the prequels that much. I like Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
I think that one is. I don't think it's amazing, but I do think it's a huge step up from The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones.
Revenge of the Sith was like what the story they should have been telling the previous two movies. Like that should have been
Right.
an elongated like focus of the original trilogy, and it wasn't. It's like somebody went to George Lucas and said, "Hey, can you stop making shitty prequels?" It's like, oh, sure, okay.
I still love
Revenge of the Sith.
I still love the other. No, I don't really like the Attack of the Clones so much, but I love Phantom Menace only for the simple reason of being nerdy that I love Darth Maul so much. So again, it's that same thing of it's 3 hours, whatever the movie is, which is pretty. But there's 10 minutes of Darth Maul, so I'll take it. You know, it's kind of like just for that moment of him with the doors opening and that fight. I love. It's just
it's very gaudy, very 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 cinematic, if you will.
Yeah.
I'll say this, and then I'll stop talking about the Star Wars movies. At least, I don't care for The Last Jedi. I don't like it that much. I don't hate it. I don't think it's like completely awful, but I don't like it. I think The Rise of Skywalker is one of the most poorly handled movies I've seen in a very, very long time.
Yeah,
for a long time I liked it more than The Last Jedi, but I've switched that around. I think The Last Jedi is better than The Rise of Skywalker.
It's a bad movie. And it's not. Yeah.
Well, what do you guys think about the whole Andor? How do you think that's gonna go? Because they finished shooting, and Diego Luna says expect familiar faces.
That quote is what I want to talk about right now.
Okay.
You see, you brought up earlier about Obi-Wan appearing in Boba Fett, but nobody is considering the fact that Obi-Wan could be in Andor, which was a rumor months ago. I can't remember the source, so I can't say if it's official or not. So it isn't official. I just don't know if it was a reliable rumor or not. But the rumors were that Obi-Wan will not just be a cameo appearance; he'll be in like 2 or 3 episodes of Andor, played by Ewan McGregor, of course. And this quote, "Expect familiar faces," just helps me believe that rumor even more.
Wait a second. He's just said Lord of the Rings is the greatest trilogy of all time. Al, you're wrong. Al, you are wrong. Get back on your flight. Are you delayed? Is there something wrong with your ears? Your ears not working? What's going on? Hey, someone get Al. Yeah, get him. Yeah, take him out. Sorry.
Okay, well, just so you guys know, Al Seward will be here on my channel live Tuesday for a spoiler discussion of Venom. Ramon, if you want to join in on that conversation, you guys can duke it out about the greatest.
I'm not saying that. It's not, Al, there's nothing to discuss. Come on, look, I've got a ring.
You know what is factually the greatest trilogy ever made? And this isn't a sarcastic answer. This is my favorite trilogy.
I know what you're going to say.
I don't think you do.
I do.
What do you think I'm going to say?
You're going to say the Sex and the City trilogy because the third one's getting
you
made.
Got me. You got me. That was it.
He got you, man.
Sorry. Go on.
The Cornetto trilogy. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End are considered a trilogy of movies. Perfect trilogy.
But it's not the same continuity.
So it's called a trilogy.
They
call it
a director's trilogy.
Yeah,
a director's trilogy.
That's
as
what it
opposed
is.
To a story, a trilogy of stories.
It's a director's trilogy that stars all the same people in all three of them.
Well, then how many? Well, we got Rob Zombie's trilogy. You got House of a Thousand Corpses, Halloween, and pretty much any Rob Zombie film, he has all the same people. So can we call those trilogies, or
does he label them a trilogy?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what's a trilogy. It is House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and Free from Hell.
Yeah, that's a true.
Yeah,
trilogy.
but again, I think that's a good thing to have a debate about. Not even it don't even have to be serious. Just like with everyone on it, just sort of like I was just said, because Lord of the Rings, the original Lord of the Rings trilogy is bloody incredible. So there is quite a lot of good. There is some really good, great trilogies out there.
One very underrated trilogy, which I know there's more, but Seth and I were just talking about this yesterday, is Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Like the first three movies, I absolutely adore.
Yeah, they're good. What's the part? I think my favorite part, I know it's a bit morbid. I think my favorite one is
that message is to you, Seth.
See,
Nice.
I think your reception's breaking up, Al. Something wrong over there, buddy. I think the best Pirates of the Caribbean one was the one where he fights the Kraken at the end. I don't know what part that is.
Dead Man's Chest, or is it just Dead Man's Chest?
Yeah. The second and third one are like together. They're one movie. They were shot together, and
they were shot together, and they were released less than a year apart.
Yeah, that entire Davy Jones story is absolutely magical to me.
I was really hoping they would do another. I'm not going to dive into the whole legal thing with Johnny Depp right now, but if he wins, I'm hoping that they bring him back for just one final movie, because the third movie wrapped everything up. Like, the story ended. These characters had their arcs. Everything concluded, and then they made another one. And then they made another one, and then it left everything open again. And like the fifth one, I don't know if you remember. I don't know if either of you remember. It left off on a cliffhanger with Davy Jones coming back.
Yeah,
they did. They did.
Yeah, they did. So they were setting that up. And at one point, I know Pirates 6 was in development, but for obvious reasons, that is not in development anymore. At some point,
I think it will.
But I'm
things with him will get fixed.
I don't even think Sparrow needs to be the main character. I'm okay with him being a side character. I just want him to be in these movies. But there's more Pirates movies in development. We don't really know what they are. Spin-offs, reboots. All we know is that they're not direct sequels.
Yeah, prequels.
So
something
they
like
could
this.
be anything. I think it's got, was it Margot Robbie? I think she's the one who's supposed to star in that.
Cool.
So
all right.
I'm sorry. I'm well up for that. Her in that. Sorry, Margot Robbie and all that pirate stuff. Yeah, mate.
So Andor is done filming.
Yeah, it is, and I'll point this out about Andor. It is the longest live action season of any Star Wars or Marvel Disney Plus show. Has 12 episodes. Most of the Marvel shows so far have had 6, and I think Obi-Wan is only going to have 6. So Andor has 12 episodes, and we've heard we might be getting even a second season. So look, Andor's got a lot planned.
Well, I'm excited to hear your opinion on it, Seth.
Well, if I watch it.
Stevie,
so
your camera's cutting out this end,
came
Steve.
up. Yeah, I know. It does that from time to time.
Is mine all right? Is mine
Yeah,
good?
you're back now. Yeah,
I don't know why. It's getting a little laggy, but it should pass here soon. Banners. So, yeah, everything's kind of lagging on my end a little bit. Hopefully, it will pass soon. Maybe it's this site that I have open. I don't know. John Leguizamo responds to Mario movie casting. Have you guys heard about this?
Very vaguely.
All right.
Is my audio last week? You are, but it's
no. We just talked about the Mario casting. The John Leguizamo responding to Mario.
Oh, okay. No, then
John Leguizamo responding to Mario casting. I don't think that came out until a few days later. And John Leguizamo just simply says, "Let me get this up here." Why? Says, "I'm so glad Super Mario Bros. Is getting a reboot. Obviously, it's iconic enough, but too bad they went all white. No, Latinx. I never heard. Is that Latino? In the leads, groundbreaking, colorblind casting, and original. Plus, I'm the only one who knows how to make this movie work script wise." Okay.
All right.
I mean, well, number one, he's not entirely wrong, but he's not entirely right either. What's his name? Keegan
Michael Key.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the cast, so it's not all white, but he is kind of correct in the fact that there's not much diversity in, ethnically speaking. But it just seems like it just seems like throwing shade somewhere that doesn't quite need it. You know what I mean?
He's an idiot.
What made King of Mario? What? Because he was that no one likes. Yeah, all of a sudden he is the absolute king of Mario movies and Mario.
Yeah, and that was my biggest problem. Not my biggest problem, but like him saying I'm the only one that knows how to make this movie work script wise. What? What gives you that right? What puts you in that position to say I'm the only one who knows how to make this movie work?
Yeah,
when you were in a shit bomb version of it. I mean, I don't know. It's like I was on board with what he was saying. Having more ethnic based cast. I get that. I respect that. But then he had to add in like that very selfish last line where I'm just like, okay,
why? That was.
Thanks, John. Where's your script pitch? Where is it?
Show us your Mario movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Ramon, what do you think about this?
This is like what we was talking. Well, I kind of brought up last week with Bond about the whole thing with changing and characters and race and all this stuff. And I've been speaking to quite a few friends this week about this, and like predominantly majority of my friends are not like English born white people. Well, I've got a lot of like Asian black friends, and we kind of all like openly discuss this sort of stuff. And I think it's a strange thing because I think you've got people on the fence of let's put diversity into film no matter the cost or what it does to a product. Then you've got the fans, like I would view us, I would say, are the fans that just want a good film regardless of who's in it. I don't care who's in a film. I just want a good film. And I think if the first thing you do at any given point is to go like what he's just said, I think that just doesn't make you look good. It doesn't. Maybe he does have a point about some of it, but it doesn't make you look good. Like, look, you've read that out, and I'm like, well, I like him as an actor, but that just doesn't make you look good saying it like that. I don't know. I think it's such a
selfish, tone to it that just the fact that he had to add in, I'm the only one who knows how to, make the script work. Like, no, you're not. Where
No,
is that script?
that's what I mean. I asked, as I say, I asked one of my friends yesterday, because of all of this stuff that's happening with movies at the moment, and I said to him, "Would you rather?" I said, "You've got a choice." I said, "Would you rather have Ben Affleck as the next Batman, and we make that movie that people want, or would you rather just have would you rather have a transgender dude who's got big green hair with a midget and someone else?" And he goes, "No, I would pick that as Batman because we've not had it." So that's what I'm saying. There's people that care about the brand and the property and sticking to the roots of the property and making what the fans want. And then there's people that just want diversity because they've got their own agenda, which is fine if that's what people want. But that's going to lose a lot of fans if you push too hard against what fans want, I think. And we've seen it with so many films, and it ruins a lot of brands if it doesn't fit what they're trying to achieve. Like at the end of the day, isn't Mario animated anyway? Is this the one we're talking about?
Yes.
So they're going to
Yep.
have a mad wide range cast anyway. Like some of it's been announced, but I bet you there's going to be a hell of a lot more people that join the cast. So that's going to come back to backfire on him anyway, I think.
Yeah, Al says here, I see the point with the diversity piece, especially if the character is Latin, but it does need to be him. But he makes a good point for representation. You could not cast a non-Asian for Shang-Chi. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I thought you meant doesn't. Okay. I thought you meant doesn't, but it doesn't need to be him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, there is a point to his diversity, the whole point of him putting that up there. But like Ramon says, this is a cartoon. If you want to I mean, Mario's Italian.
Yeah.
Isn't he Italian?
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you want to go that route, let's go deep here, and let's hire an Italian actor, to play Mario. It's, I don't know. See, you go when you start thinking of the diversity of things, especially to a children's cartoon, where does it end? Like, how much does it need to be applied or not applied? And that's a very hard conversation to have. Definitely something that we're not going to figure out on Film Trigger today, but it's definitely a conversation that needs to be like, okay, listen, if we're going to have a white guy play an Italian character, then should we really have or does that mean we have to have we can have I'm losing my words. My point is,
no,
you get what I'm saying? Like I feel like I'm getting jumbled up in my head because I'm getting like upset about it almost. Like
I think it's a big conversation to have, but I think what Ours said is kind of what I was trying to get at. I think this is what I was trying to say. If it's important to the product, the movie, for example, Shang-Chi character has to be Asian because that's who that character is. Great. If something doesn't need to be a specific person, race, gender, whatever the heck it has to be, then I don't care. That's all I care about when I'm watching a movie, as long as it's true to whatever the book is or the comic or the backstory. As long as it's true to that, I don't care who plays the part. The thing that's difficult is like what you just said. Do you remember a year or two ago, wasn't Scarlett Johansson supposed to play a lesbian or a gay or a trans something in a movie? And because she was bullied on Twitter, she stepped out of the movie role. And I think that's absurd because does this mean now, like you say, well, if Simu Liu, who played Shang-Chi, does that mean he can only play Asian characters in movies now? As in terms of like, that character has to be built to be Asian and he can't play something else. That's stupid. Everyone should be able to play anyone as long as it's with the exception of that Shang-Chi has to be this person, Black Panther has to be this person, because that's who the character is. Other than that, I think it should just be whoever's best for the role.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And we discussed this last week a little bit, talking about if James Bond could be a female character. And you're right in the sense that, well, James Bond is kind of built like he's one character. It's one main story. If you change the sex of that character, its continuity doesn't work with the rest of the film. If you have a Black Panther type of character and you hired Chris Pratt to play Black Panther,
Doesn't
culturally
make sense.
it's not going to make sense culturally.
No.
There's certain roles, and that
For,
need that honing in. But I think more so what John Leguizamo is talking about here is representation. And specifically for him, Latino. But the cast is kind of whitewashed. I'm not gonna lie, like it is. But are we getting to the point to where we're, what's that called? Affirmative action, where you hire somebody just to have an ethnic change across the
that's what
board.
I mean. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
Are you
I
hiring
think
the
that's
right
silly.
person for the role?
Yeah.
There's like much to be discussed with that, because it's been abused. That particular thing has been abused. We're only going to put white guys because people only like white guys, apparently, according to Hollywood. That's been abused. So like having that affirmative action side of it really does mean something. But at the same time, it's such a fuzzy line.
I think it is. It's very, very difficult. I think it goes back to, I think anyone with like common sense kind of goes with the route of, if it, like I say, if it makes sense to the story, great. If it's just hiring someone basically because they have to be that way, even if at the end of the day, I think about it just as the film. All of that other stuff that's going on outside in the world, people can make it be about and debate about it being about all of those things up there. I don't really care about all of that, not in a horrible way. I'd like if the film is good and the product is good, I just want to see that film. I don't care about all of that other stuff that's attached to it. But if it's a point of, like you said, with it being the Black Panther or whatever, then yes, that person has to be like that, because that the continuity, like you said. But if it goes down the route of just hiring someone in any role, in any position, just because of the sake of it, we're going to get a lot of crap films. That's what I think. I think we'll get a lot of films that won't be successful, and that no one wins. The studio don't win. The fans don't win.
Yeah.
I
mean, hopefully in 100 years we won't this discussion won't be
I agree, definitely
a thing anymore. Hopefully people will hire the best actors, no matter their their race or their ethnic background, and the roles that need that certain ethnic background are hired for that one. Hopefully in 100 years that's not a discussion anymore. But unfortunately, we're in this weird stage where like this is where we're at. We're like, yeah, I mean the cast is good, but is it ethnically responsible? Like that's kind of where we're at, and that's the discussion.
Because like you see, like did you say Chris Pratt? And that was who he was laughing at last week, Seth, innit? Who's playing Mario? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. So like who? If you had like an Italian actor and he goes, well, I want someone who's Italian. Say the Italian actor that we don't know. Say people that have gone in to read for it. I think whatever happens, talent is important. And it's like, because everyone of us who makes these videos on here, YouTube and everything, we just want good content. And the bottom line from the majority of us is just the good content. And I think if it does push too hard that way, like John is saying in that article, it's like, well, you could have made it a fully Italian cast and it might not have done well. And it might have, it might not have been a good movie. If that was the case, no one wins. It should just be hired on the best person for the role. And I hope that's where we end up. It's going to take time, but
it's going to take time because it's a pendulum effect. It's going to swing one way, then swing far to the other side, and then eventually, hopefully, it comes down to where it needs a good balance. Balanced as all things should be.
We're definitely not, because this is bound to come up. Like it's a difficult thing to talk about, but we're talking about it now on a very low scale level of things. But this is bound to come up more with movies because we don't know what's going to happen. Like the next Batman film that we're excited about might come out, and something might happen and be said about that, and we're going to have to discuss it again. And it's like,
well, maybe because Commissioner Gordon is they're race swapping him, where we're getting a black Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah,
which I like, for me in my mind, that's neither here nor there. Like that's if that's the best actor for the job, And so be it. Like, I'm looking forward to it, you know?
To me, that's what I'm trying to say, though. That's what I'm saying. If it doesn't have a fundamental point to the character of who they are and their background in their
Right.
story, it doesn't matter. It could have been Asian, it could have been Chinese. It could, to me, it doesn't matter who would have been Gordon. If that's why I was arguing before and debating last week about Bond, because
yeah.
Bond backstory is he's based on a soldier from 1921 who was a secret agent for Churchill, and it's actually written about this guy. So it's like, to change his story ruins the continuity of the story. To change T'Challa's backstory in a new movie, if you have Channing Tatum turn up as T'Challa, it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. If likewise with Bond and Idris Elba, if you made Black Panther and whoever replaces Chadwick Boseman comes in, and then say there's another character and Channing Tatum comes into it and he's another character in it, and they do a spin-off about it, people would back it because, that's just another dude that's part of the thing and it's gone over there. That's how I feel about Idris Elba. But that main core arc story that all the fans love needs to stay true, because if you lose, again, it's not about the political stuff. If you lose the core audience who love that character, who's going to go and watch it?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. And we just want the success of these films to continue. That's, you know.
Yeah, and Al says a good aspect about diversity is it exposes talent that you might not otherwise see in front and behind the camera. Yes, that he's absolutely right. You know, and that's why I think, you know, the affirmative action side of things is very important, because you might discover talent that you didn't know was there, because we've been so brainwashed to stick with these whitewashed casts, you know, for, you know, 100 years of cinema. You know, now that people like John Leguizamo are speaking up saying, hey, but, you know, Latinos aren't getting representation here, you know, just throwing that out there, you know, he's kind of, you know, making people realize, hey, let's not go down this way again. Let's make it important to have a fully diverse cast, you know. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Al.
No, I think it's good, and I think I think the reason I'm so like bizarre and outlandish in the way I speak is because I don't really watch. I watch a lot of Hollywood movies and stuff, like, because we do our reviews and stuff. But I also watch so much non-English movies, like a lot of, like, you know, like I'm sure we spoke about it on one of the channels. We were speaking about the Raid Redemption and all these martial arts movies, and because I watch so many different types of movies, I think my brain isn't set in that way of, it's just white characters or it's just black characters, because I watch all different, but I just assume everyone's like that, and they're not, you know. Like the cast from Raid Redemption is incredible. I'd love to see them in a big blockbuster, you know, like an American blockbuster Hollywood movie, because the actors in that are amazing. The martial arts in that film is nuts. But I'm sure this is banned. All of this stuff will come up because we're going to get another issue like this come up,
and it's and maybe rightfully so, or maybe just triggerly so. Who knows, man? Like, it's all up for interpretation of what you feel like, what you're aware of, what you're not aware of. You know, it's a big discussion right now, and hopefully, as I said before, in 100 years, maybe it's not a discussion. I'd like to.
Yeah, but as difficult as this is for us, and we're talking about this all the time, it's not the sort of thing we want to sit here discussing all the time, because it's a difficult subject, and we just want to talk about fun and laughs and mock each other and have fun. But at least we're doing it. At least this is a start of
we're having a hard
chat.
conversation.
Yeah.
Well, at least you and I are. Seth is like,
I don't want no part of that, bro.
That's like.
Yo, bro, I'm not. What's going on here, man?
All right, well, let's change the tune here a little bit, guys. That is an important topic, and we could talk about it all day. But I think we did a good job expressing our feelings. So, and I appreciate Al being a part of that discussion.
Yeah, big up, Al.
Now here's something that won't seem to go away. Todd McFarlane still talking about his Reclusive Spawn reboot. This has been in the works.
Who's Todd McFarlane again? I know that name.
He's the one that created Spawn. He's the one that created Venom. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Right. Okay. My brain's just a bit fried. Okay.
Yeah. So he's been talking about this Spawn reboot for years.
Oh, it's been a long time.
Yeah, and every time he talks about it, he's like, "Oh, it's just right around the corner." I mean, who's supposed to star in it? It's Jamie Foxx is supposed to play Spawn.
Jamie Foxx is Spawn.
Jeremy Renner is supposed to play the detective.
Yeah.
And like he's wanting to reimagine his own character. He's wanting this to be a hard R, and he's wanting to recreate Spawn as more of a just like a recluse figure in the shadows, as opposed to somebody who's like, you know, just he's not going to be the main character of the movie. And
right
when Joker came out, that actually helped propel his script, because this is supposed to be a character study in that sort of light. It's supposed to be that sort of tone. And then COVID hit and it all went away, and we've kind of felt bad for Todd. Like, oh man, he was just gaining steam to this Spawn reboot, but now he's back.
You know, I don't know, something about him directing this movie concerns me.
Yeah,
because he's not a director. Like,
no,
I don't. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he's ever directed a movie before.
No, and the thing is even when in an interview that I saw with him once, I think you and I saw the same interview. He's like, "Well, I've never directed a movie before, but I know the story I want to tell." And you and I were just like,
and there's
maybe have somebody next to you helping you.
Like, I'm not saying he absolutely can't do it. Like, he can, but some of the things he says concerns me. Like, because he was talking about the movie. This had to have been at least a year ago now. He was talking about the movie, and he was like, "Oh yeah," he was like, "The main thing that I want in this movie is I want the very minimal scenes with Spawn to be cool." And it's like, is that what you want? Spawn's not the main character, and your biggest concern is that he's cool, or he's not going to be cool.
Yeah,
enough.
I think that was. And I remember that interview.
He was talking about the Venom movie at one point, which I don't think he had any involvement with the Venom movie at all, but he was talking about the Venom movie, and he was like, "Well, what made you decide if you were going to like it or not?" And he was like, "If Venom was big." And he said as soon as he saw that Venom was big, he knew that it was going to be a great movie.
So his expectations are minuscule compared to what a director should have.
Yeah.
You know, well, I want him to have this, you know, this sort of integrity. You know, he should talk like this. Like, this is the character you created. Well, I just want him to be big.
Yeah. No, it's.
Yeah, I get that.
It concerns me. Maybe he can pull it off. I'm sure he can, but I'm just.
Al Stewart says he doesn't want a Spawn movie as a horror, though.
I disagree, Al. Sorry.
Agree.
Yeah, I disagree.
But not in a bad way. But like you know, the who played him again in the other the 90s movie? Because I've got, do you know what?
Michael J. White. Is that his name?
I've got that. Yeah, I've got that on VHS and I've got it on DVD, and it isn't a great movie. But again,
for you owning that.
Yeah, but I love the character. It's the same with like we were speaking about Venom and stuff. The films are like, yeah, they're okay, but I love the characters so much. And so, again, like Al said, I want another Spawn movie. I just hope it is a bit concerning. I just hope they do it right. I do want horror, but if it's not horror, it doesn't make a big deal. I just want a good Spawn movie because he's such a cool character.
Right. Well, and the concept that Todd McFarlane has for this new story, it's not going to be an origin story.
Right.
But it's actually going to pay more focus to the detective that's trying to figure out. Oh, there's Aaron. Okay. Hi, Aaron. You were so quiet, buddy. Is that he wants to pay attention to the story of this detective, like discovering these very askew murders or what have you.
Right.
And then Spawn is actually going to be in the shadows most of the time. Like he's going to have like black smoke where his legs are supposed to be, like a genie almost. Like he's actually changing the mythology of Spawn for this, which I don't know if is a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm always down for seeing new interpretations of characters that I know. But he's very adamant. Not that it's just rated R, but it's a hard R. You know, like it's going to be, he says, if children go into the theater to see this movie, he wants them crying as they leave.
Yeah.
As a horror fan, I'm down with that.
You know, I'll say this. I did not like the idea of it focusing on the detective until I read the first issue of Spawn. Because I own this giant Spawn book, which has like the first 50 issues. I read the first one and was immediately sold on the detective idea of it.
Yeah.
Because it's such, like you said, askew murders.
Yeah.
The way that they die, like the way that the first guy that dies in the Spawn comic, is he was like pushed out of a building, like from like a really high story. And it's Twitch Williams. That's who Jeremy Renner would be playing, is like the detective here. And he's like, well, he didn't die from falling. And they're like, well, he's right here. He's dead. He fell. Like, how'd he die then? And they're like, yeah, no, his heart was ripped out. And then they're like, yeah, and it was in his mouth. So like
yeah, sorry, Al. Al says no. But those horror elements are they're part of Spawn himself. I mean, his name is Spawn. He's a spawn of Satan.
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
the whole
do you know,
concept.
now you've brought this up, I've got to bring this up as well, because it's kind of in line with Spawn. Wait, I'm going to just show you the picture, guys. Do you know who that is? It's another character called Grendel, and it's another one that they're making an adaptation of, and it's another character I loved growing up, and it's a similar sort of thing with Spawn. They're characters that are, I think, I wouldn't say hardcore like comic fans, but they're not for like your average Joe wouldn't really know too much about Spawn or Grendel. And I think as long as they do it right, I would like a horror one, but if they don't do it, as long as it's a good adaptation of whatever's going to be told, I don't care. I just want a good film.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, we all just want a good film, but
yeah,
we've done the PG-13 Spawn with the very horrible CGI cape, and it's there. We can go watch that, but
I would love to see a more animated, like in terms of like scale of the character, because it could be so scary and terrifying, and that's kind of what we wanted with Carnage, but we didn't really get that, did we? But that's another story.
Right. Aaron White starting to decorate the house with the kids for Halloween. Check you later. All right, Aaron. Thanks for stopping in, buddy.
Take it easy, man.
I want to see pictures on Facebook of your decorations. So yeah, but I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see if he can get this off the ground again.
I hope he can.
How long? It's been like 10 years almost.
Oh yeah,
since he's been talking about this.
I think Jamie Foxx is a really good pick for Spawn. I hope that's like my main reason I hope this movie happens. I want to see Jamie Foxx play Spawn.
Yeah.
I don't care much for Jeremy Renner as the detective. I feel like that could be anybody, but
yeah. Yeah, Jeremy Renner hasn't sold me on a box office, lead in a movie. We talked about this last week too. I think I think he's more of a good TV guy, which is why I'm excited for Hawkeye. But
I'll always fight his corner, man.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I hope he proves me wrong one day. I hope he proves me wrong.
I would say hopefully he proves you wrong with Spawn. It doesn't seem like this movie will ever happen. Yeah. I like how in your headline here, whatever you want to call that, you capitalized still.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Tom McFarlane still talking about his Reclusive Spawn.
I think look, we're talking about it now, even if it don't happen for years to come, it's got to happen at some point, because the whole thing with comic books and these kinds of characters, they're so gigantic, and we're going into the realms of like Shang-Chi and the unknown characters that people don't necessarily in the popular culture know, unless you're like a fan of like the hardcore comics and stuff. So Spawn it's like, to me, it's like dying to happen. That would be so good. It would just be
yeah, it'd be good. I think it's about time to bring Spawn.
And like
back.
Seth said, yeah, Jamie Foxx would be awesome as the character. I mean,
honestly, I'd love to see Idris Elba. I think Idris Elba would fit better than
Idris Elba's.
He has a grittier way about him that I could see fit spawning better than Jamie Foxx. Personally, I'm not saying Jamie Foxx.
They would both be, yeah.
But I think Idris Elba would just do it just a little bit more justice.
I like that idea. I think I still prefer Jamie Foxx as Spawn, but Idris Elba's not a bad idea.
Let's just hope that happens. We should keep talking about that every other week or every couple of weeks and just like push it out there onto the internet.
Oh, that Idris Elba should be playing Spawn?
No, just in general, the story, just to keep it so people talk about it, because
with as much as Todd McFarlane runs his mouth, I'm sure there's a new story every week of him telling somebody about it. Well, we had a producer, but he left, so we had another producer, and this was the ticket. He's gonna go all Ed Wood about it, He's like, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be the next big movie. So speaking of seeing characters reemerge, here's one I'm not so sure that we need, or how they're going to do it. But it is a thing. Ridley Scott says Gladiator 2 will be ready to go after Napoleon movie exclusive. So Gladiator 2, this has to be a different story, right? Like you don't know about Gladiator, right?
Nope, I've
Okay.
never seen Gladiator. I will have very, very little.
Put
to say
that on
here.
your list, bro. Honestly,
Yeah,
put that on your list.
It's really good movie.
It's
Completely historically inaccurate, but really a good movie.
I'll put it on my watch list.
Joaquin Phoenix in that movie will
Yeah.
be one of your most hated villains in a film. He's awfully. He's just a disgusting person in this film, and it just shows you. I mean, we all know he's a good actor anyway, but in this movie, he's just
we didn't know who he was.
Awful. Yeah, he's just such a disgusting person, and you realise just how he doesn't carry the movie. Like Russell Crowe, everyone in it is brilliant, but when he's on, he makes your skin crawl. He's just he's an awful person in it. He's brilliant.
Yeah, and that was the first movie I ever saw Joaquin Phoenix in. Was this movie? But so Ridley Scott, did Ridley Scott do the first Gladiator?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I've never known.
Yeah, I like the first film for me is just a special. It's just a special film. It's just a great movie.
So, what do you think about this, Ramon? How do you think
bizarre.
they're going to do this? Let's see if there's any information here.
Unless they make it about his son. You
Right.
kind of know, so you don't. It's not really spoiler stuff. It's kind of obvious that it's going to be a tragedy and all of that. The original, so it's not really spoiling anything to say like everyone in it doesn't really make it at the end. But that's kind of the part of the Gladiator story. But it's a difficult one because it's kind of, I don't know. I can't even compare it to another movie. But it's like because the original is such a one-off movie. I think it's a difficult, strange decision to make a sequel to this of all films because it's
right.
I mean, if he does it right, it'll be great because the original is such a great film, but the original is its own story and that's it. So I've got no idea where they can go with it. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a very finite story. Like there's
kind of like when you watch the end of Game of Thrones. Say for everyone out there watching this has seen Game of Thrones, right? You go right. The White Walker story's been told. Daenerys story's been told. The Mountain, Cersei, everything's come to an end. Right, this is the new person, the leader of King's Landing. Right, it's all done. End of story. Right, let's do Game of Thrones too. It's like, well, the story's done. Like we know, unless you go back and tell a completely different story with all new characters. So then, really, it's not Game of Thrones. It's not Gladiator. It's just another film based at that place. So I don't know where they can go with it. I really don't know where they can.
Yeah, so Seth, like Ramon said, I mean, it is kind of spoilery for you, but it's the Gladiator story. Yeah. Gladiators typically survive very long.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like it would have to be about his kid. It would have to be about the kid.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. If they make again, and it's just using, to be honest, it's just using the brand name. Everyone knows what Gladiator is. Gladiator 2, the sequel. Oh, it's about his kid. Well, it's just a selling point for the film, really. It's not really going to be tied to anything. There's nothing, you know what I'm saying? We're not going to watch it and be like, oh my God, it's got so-and-so. And I don't know.
Well, now that I think about it, it would actually be a really interesting take, like to see what happens in that universe, what happens to gladiators after Maximus, made his stance, and stood up for himself. Like maybe this could be a story of how that decision, to stand up against the king became a ripple effect of gladiators. And, like he's held up almost as an idol to other gladiators. That would be an interesting concept to go.
I watched it again recently and it's just one of those films where it's got so many good actors in it and so many, like even Oliver Reed is in it a tiny bit. There's so many side characters. Do you remember all the guys that help him as well? All the other gladiators that sort of join him as his army and stuff like, and his friends, and like even all of those side characters are just, you'd grow to love all of those characters. And that's what I mean. It's like to make a new one, none of that is there. So it really is from the ground up. So we'll see what happens.
It would have to reverberate from the original story though, just to tie it in, but I would really like to hear.
I think Seth, you should watch it for Joaquin Phoenix because you'll look at him and think when you're watching it, you think, young Joker, and then after 10 minutes, you'll just be like, this geezer's just horrible. He's so horrible, but he's just wonderful at it. He's so good.
Yeah, it's very menacing, and like his whole storyline, the whole concept is eerie. It's creepy. It's incestual.
He's disgusting. He's
fucking nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Gladiator 2. We'll see what comes of it. I'm not super excited, but I'm not like not excited about it either. I'm like,
again, hopefully it'll be one of those movies, yeah, where it's like we're speaking about it, like I don't know where it can go, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get a movie that's just wow. Like hopefully he'll come out with a movie again where we're just blown away, like what a great story. And I hope that's what it is, because it's about time we had something else like that, because we haven't had a film like that in years that's that sort of time-based, you know, that scale. It would be great.
So Gladiator 2, see you later. There's something I read the other day that I bring up. They're we're Evil Dead fans, I believe, in here.
I watched it again the other day because you told me to.
Oh, the reboot?
Yeah.
Yeah, what'd you think of it?
I enjoyed it more than I did the first time. Definitely.
Good. So for what's happening here is Evil Dead box set is being released, and it will not include Army of Darkness, but it will include the Ash versus Evil series. What a weird decision.
Was it made by the same studios? Maybe it's something to do with that, the rights of it or something.
Something to do with rights, because the Ash rights are all over the place. Like you have one company that owns the rights to the TV show. You have
but the TV show's in it.
Huh?
The TV show's in it, and the first 2 movies are in it.
Right.
But just
so
not
they
the
probably
third
made
movie.
a deal with that studio. And then there's a studio that owns the first movie, and then there's a studio that owns the third movie, and like the rights are all over the place. And I don't know if you guys, I know you're not much of a gamer, but I'm gonna bring this up here. Mortal Kombat 11. Ash Williams was supposed to be in that game at one point. He was on a leaked list of characters, and every single one of those characters was put in that game except for Ash. And for a long time, they were very quiet about it. They were asking, why isn't Ash in there? And they were like, well, what do you mean? Ash was never supposed to be there. And then eventually Bruce Campbell was just like, yeah, no. He was like, I recorded lines. He was like, they were making the character, but I think it's MGM that because they were trying to get the Army of Darkness rights, and they backed out last second, gave him RoboCop instead. But like, that's the thing, is like, specifically with the Army of Darkness rights, they're so like iffy on it. Like they're so like, oh, we don't know if we want to give you this version of Ash to put in this game. But if they were to have asked like I can't remember the studio name that owns Evil Dead 2, if they would have asked Evil Dead 2 studio for Ash, they would have been able to use that version of Ash, because the studio that owns Evil Dead 2 owns Rambo, and Rambo is in that game. So it's just, the rights are so weird, and I would just assume that is the main reason that the Army of Darkness is not in that box set.
I think Army of Darkness is such a great movie. It's not the same as the other two, and it's more like slapstick. I think it's slapstick comedy. I think it's so funny. I don't know if it was intended that way, and I think it kind of goes back to what we was talking about earlier with like the mixing of characters. You know, the Ash versus Evil Dead versus this, and having all these characters, and that's probably why we've never ever got a movie, because it's probably so tied up with so many different people owning studios, owning parts of the character. That's why we've never got. I feel the person I feel sorry for is Bruce Campbell, because like that dude just wants to be doing. You know, that's the guy I feel sorry for. And when you said about the game, I thought you was going to talk about the Evil Dead game. That's what I thought you was going to bring up.
No, I forgot that was even a thing.
Yeah, I didn't
like until you just brought that up. I forgot that was even being made. Aren't we getting a new Evil Dead movie too? But like without Bruce Campbell?
Yeah, and without Jane Levy either.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't want another reboot.
It's not a reboot. It's not a reboot.
It's a continuation. Well, you know Bruce Campbell's going to be in it then. At least at one point in time. He can't help himself. He
He's like-
is
Mark
Ash.
Hamill to Joker is what Bruce Campbell is to Ash. Like,
right.
he's always going to say he's retired, but he's never actually going to retire.
Yeah.
I hope we
I-
do get a big screen version of him again. I think he deserves it as an iconic character, and with Bruce Campbell, I think he deserves. Like, everyone's had that big shot on the screen again, and I think he deserves. He does, even if they did do a reboot or whatever. And I'm against a lot of them. I like him, and I think because the way that character's been treated over the years, I'd love to see. I would love to see another movie with him on the big screen in Evil Dead sort of universe.
If I'm not mistaken, because we don't hear much about this movie, so most people don't realize how close it is to coming out. I'm pretty sure that, if I'm not mistaken, this movie's done filming. Like,
What?
maybe
What?
at least it started.
Evil Dead?
The new Evil Dead movie that they're doing,
Man, they're keeping
that under wraps.
yeah.
Do you know what I would love when we're throwing out all the random things every week? Like the random things. Oh, now we're talking about the Evil Dead and the new movies. What's that? Is it Cabin in the Woods we spoke about before with Chris Hemsworth? And it's a bit Evil Deadish kind of. I'd love to see Bruce Campbell. That's the film I would want to see. Cabin in the Woods 2 with Bruce Campbell going in that lift downstairs and fighting all their monsters. Sorry.
Yeah. Seth, I forget. Have you seen Cabin in the Woods?
I have seen Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, I think we watched it together, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, that's such a crazy.
That was an interesting night. We watched that and Sweeney Todd back to back.
Oh, nice.
Oh my God, that's a bizarre mix, isn't it?
And welcome to the Kate House. No, when it comes, Ramon, did you happen to notice the after credit scene on the 2013 reboot?
Yeah, Ash was there, wasn't he?
Groovy, yeah, because that was supposed to be what Ash versus Evil Dead, the series, turned into. It was supposed to create this duality, but since it didn't work, or the studio didn't want to greenlight it, they went to Stars and came out with Ash versus Evil Dead without Jane Levy.
Do you know what the reason is? The thing that's so strange about Ash as a character, right, is when you look at Army of Darkness and it came from like that really scary original horror and everything, and then you think comparing it to Halloween and everything else, it's like he fits in there perfectly, but he doesn't, because it's like he's a comedy character. My boomstick, it's so funny, but then if you put him with Freddy and all these other characters, you can have the scary elements, but he just gives something. I don't know why it works, but he
has this overly confident way about him.
He's such an idiot. He's such a moron. Even in the show, like when he's talking,
it's amped up to 11. Like, it's even worse, but it works even better. When he's
when he's talking to women, how you doing? And it's like, bro, what are you doing? You look like an idiot. And that's why I think he's so loved, because he embraces it completely. He doesn't take himself too seriously, and I think that's why he's loved so much.
Yeah, absolutely. What were we gonna say, buddy?
I was just gonna throw out two different things, one quick and one as a question. One, the Evil Dead movie is going straight to HBO Max, so no theatrical release for that one. And two is a little question, a theory I want to throw out here. So we know Bruce Campbell, or we assume Bruce Campbell, is in Doctor Strange 2. Because he posted a picture from London. He was like, just got done filming a certain movie at a certain place with a certain actor, with a certain director, like right when that movie was filming. So I was like, okay, so you're in Doctor Strange 2, because being done by Sam Raimi. There's rumors that he is playing Ash in that movie.
What?
Just rumors, like a quick cameo as Ash Williams.
That doesn't surprise me. That would be so awesome.
Because
it'll only be a little.
Mm-hmm.
It'll only be a little, just a little.
Oh yeah, just a little.
Just like his Spider-Man cameos.
There's been like 3 different theories for Bruce Campbell in that movie that I really like, but I can't remember exactly what it was, because I must have just been like scrolling past it, and I'm not a huge Evil Dead fan purely because I haven't watched all of it. I like the one that I've seen, but there was like this one thing explaining how Evil Dead can technically be canon to Marvel, like comic wise. It's like part of Marvel canon, so it's not too out there for him to be in it. But the 3 theories that I've liked for Bruce Campbell in that movie is that one, for one, him as Ash Williams. 2, he's an alternate universe Nick Fury, which, by the way, he looks exactly how Nick Fury did in like the 90s, like 1 for 1. And 3, he plays a different character in every multiverse they go to. I've always liked that.
That would
like
be
the idea.
I like again. I remember in the Spider-Man movies. What is it? Is he like the door guy at the theater?
Yeah.
Then
But
he's
that's one of them. Yeah.
the
in the first-
champagne. Oh,
Yep. In the first one, I think he's just like one quick shot. Like, I think he's like dodging debris or something. I think that's his cameo in the first one. The second one, he's the guy at the door who's like telling him like, yeah, no, clean
With
your
the
shoes,
sign,
be
the
quiet.
sign.
And then he's like, all right, now you can't go into the play.
Yeah.
And then in the third one, he's like you said, the champagne.
That's what I mean. I don't know what it is about him. Even when he turned up in those movies, I'd burst out laughing because
He's
I'm
funny.
like, what is he gonna do? And he's like the sign on the door. He goes in the jacket and goes, okay. And he goes walking. Oh no. You can't go in after the time or whatever. And he's like, I'm like, you are so out of order, but it's what makes him so great. He's just so funny.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to hear that Bruce Campbell is going to be in, Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. Him being Ash, that would be fun, but like continuity, speaking of just the Evil Dead movies, like where the hell is Ash? Like he's spread out. Like, where does he exist in the 2013 reboot? Because he was at the end of it. Where does he exist in the multiverse?
That would be, I think, the biggest shock of that movie. Like, I can't imagine throwing anything else in there that would shock me more than him showing up as Ash.
What kind of world do we live in where Ash might take out Wanda with his boomstick? Like, what is this?
It would.
Oh my God.
Ash versus the multiverse. Oh my God!
Please, can we get that?
Yeah.
I'm like, but Disney Plus won't go MA with it. Can we get that on Hulu or something?
Right.
Like Ash versus the Marvel multiverse, or just Ash versus the multiverse. Like, please.
That sounds fun.
You said about the what you've not seen all the. Have you seen Army of Darkness, Seth?
I have not.
No,
I have.
not.
You should watch that because it's so. That movie is so bizarre. It's so. It's just such a bizarre because the first two are they're kind of straight out horror movies. The first two, this one just kind of lets him run free on being Ash and being silly, and it's just crazy. The movie's is crazy, and it's got some of the best one-liners. It's so funny. It really is.
From what I've heard, it sounds like the first one is like full on horror. First one is like full on straight horror. The second one is like mostly horror, but like kind of going back and forth between horror
they
and
start
comedy.
introducing the hokiness a little bit.
And then in Army of Darkness, they're just like full on like crank it up to 11.
I didn't know what to expect because I didn't. Yeah, I started watching Army of Darkness when I was a kid, and I was like, "Oh, that's Ash," and I didn't really know it was Evil Dead, and then started watching it, and it was just funny. It was so funny. I'm like, I don't know. I just think it's a really great. I think it's an underrated film because it's so different. There's nothing else I've ever seen that's like it. Because it's just it's just bonkers. It's a really bonkers movie.
We should do an Army of Darkness watch party.
I'd do that. I've not seen it in years. I'd definitely do it.
You would have to watch it before the watch party, just so you know.
Well, yeah.
But yeah,
I would want to do that. I want to watch all of them though, because the whole franchise intrigues me. I've seen the reboot multiple times.
Yes.
And every time I think of the reboot, by the way, my mind immediately goes to that guy with the long hair.
Oh,
poor guy.
God,
especially in the unrated cut.
God, he just kept getting hit and hit and hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he did read from the book, so he kind of deserved it.
Yeah, but it's funny almost. And I think I've seen like 5 episodes of Ash versus Evil Dead, and I really liked it. I don't know why I never watched more of it, but I really enjoyed it. I think I stopped myself from watching anymore because I haven't seen any of the movies.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to watch these movies before I full on dive into this.
If you like Ash versus Evil Dead, you'll love Army of Darkness. That's what I mean. It's that kind of humor. He's got no shame. He's just so funny.
Yeah. Army of Darkness definitely paved the way to where Ash is now.
Yeah.
Right. Evil Dead, which is a canceled series. Unfortunately, they only got 3. I would love to see that series pick back up, but I think Bruce Campbell's kind of done.
Yeah. I remember before it was canceled, he was like, talking about how it might get canceled, and he was like, all right, I'm gonna do Ash versus Evil Dead season 4 or however many seasons we do, and he was like, but if it gets canceled, I'll do another movie.
Oh,
He said, I will do another movie
just to close it all up, probably.
and then it got canceled. So everyone was like, okay, so we're getting Evil Dead 4 at least. He was like, everyone was like, at least we can rest easy knowing that he's going to come back for another movie. And then he was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing another movie. He was like,
He could be trolling us too.
I don't know, that tweet seemed pretty sincere. Like it seemed like a goodbye tweet. Like
we'll see.
Goodbye to Ash Williams.
Well,
He's probably but he's probably peed off if he's doing the show and it's probably just an open wound at the moment. And it's
I was about to say that too, Ramon, that he was probably kind of emotional at the time.
Maybe,
you know.
Well, I hope he can come back.
All right. Well, we here's something that we talked about last week, but there's just a small little update. We talked about Rob Zombie's The Munsters, you know, and how the house was being built. Well, now the house is complete, and actually the neighborhood that is complete. And here's some photos of it. I want to see if you guys see what I see. So here's the house. It's very like I did a side-by-side comparison. It's very almost to the T of the Munsters house. You know, except the windows up here, this is a little different, but you know, for the most part, it's basically the same. But if you look at the other houses in the neighborhood, this gives me a very, very Edward Scissorhands type of vibe to it.
Does, yeah. Do you know what it reminds me of as well? Do you remember The Burbs?
Yeah,
Tom Hanks. It looks like that kind of.
Yeah, that kind of like, you know, 50s style home, you know, just nice community, you know, nice neighborhood, you know, subdivision. And then you have in the background this house lurking in the darkness. And also the colors of the house. You have a light pink, light blue. I think this one's light yellow, which did remind me of the, you know, Tim Burton's Edward Scissorhands. But it makes me wonder if this movie is going to be set in the original timeline that the TV show was in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Because that's what the style of home reminds me of that they're showing here. It reminds me of the 50s and 60s style house. So I don't know. I'm just very curious. I know we talked about it a whole bunch last week, but I don't know. I just thought I'd throw it up. They finished the house. The more I think about it, the more I get excited, the more I trust Rob Zombie's not going to go, you know, full
Rob Zombie with it.
Go full Rob Zombie with it.
Who's playing? I've not seen the cast.
I don't think there is a cast list.
Oh, okay.
I'll check. I'm not sure if there is a cast
list.
He's
bound to have his missus play the mum,
right? Well, or somebody. Who knows?
I love her to bits.
Actually obligated to be in every single Rob Zombie movie.
Yeah. I just love her because she's nuts. She's just crazy.
Sherry Moon.
No, I'll be excited to see. Do you know something else? Did you ever watch the last of? Did you see Free from Hell, like the third movie?
No, I never watched that one. There was like a perfect storm that happened, and that was because like I was really into The Devil's Rejects, but I never really considered The Devil's Rejects to be a continuation of A House of a Thousand Corpses. I know they tried to make it a continuation, but it just aesthetically just doesn't work for me. And then I watched 31, the movie that came out, Rob Zombie's Halloween movie. I actually bought it before I even watched it, and then I watched it and I'm like, meh.
Yeah,
and then three from Hell came out right about that same time, and I was just, I don't know, I think I was a little exhausted with, you know, Rob Zombie at that point, and I just never went back to it. What do you think? Should I?
To be honest, if you like the other two, then yeah, you should watch it. It's not a brilliant film, but I love it. Just again, it's that nerd in me. Just I would do anything just to see those characters one more time. And Sid Haig, who passed away, who played Captain Spaulding, is in it for like, you know, he's only in it for a couple of minutes, and I just wanted to watch it because I loved him so much. So, but I love it for what it is. It's very, very different from the other two, and it's hardcore violence and everything else. You know, it's kind of what you expect from his films. But the reason I was saying it is because I don't know why, it just made me think there's a lady in it that's so out of character. What was I forgot the actress's name. She's in E.T. You must have seen E.T. obviously. Do you remember
Yeah,
the mum
yeah,
who's in E.T.?
yeah.
She's in it, and she is
Oh,
creepy as hell in it. It's such a because I didn't recognize her. I don't know what made me think of her. You were saying something just now, and it made me think of that film and her. I don't know why, but it's if you've seen the other two movies, have you seen House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects? I think it's worth seeing just to see the end of their story, if you like. But
there
Sherry
seems to
Moon in it
be
is awesome.
there seems to be some casting here. I've looked up on a few different sites, and they're all saying nearly the same thing. Let's see if I can find a good article to bring up. Obviously, Sherry Moon, zombies. I guess she'll probably be Lily.
Mm.
Let me see if I can. Well, here's some of the cast here. Only thing I can really find. Jeff Daniel Phillips, Malcolm McDowell, Richard
Ah.
Brake, Meg Foster, E.G. Daly, Lou Temple.
Richard Brake is when you're saying you said you watched 31. Is 31 the weird movie with like the horror house kind of thing, and they've all got
Yeah,
to escape?
yeah,
Right. One thing I will say about that movie, I didn't think it was a great film, but Richard Brake's scene is one of the best I've seen in horror in years. I think it's the very, very beginning or the end, and he makes the speech to the
yeah,
camera. Oh
yeah,
my! I thought that was like I can't even remember what it was about, but it was something to do with him being a complete psycho. But that scene alone, I thought was outstanding. The rest of the film's a bit, yeah, but
yeah.
yeah,
And I even looking at Jeff Daniel Phillip, just like looking at his face, I can definitely see a Herman Munster like
yeah,
build to his face. I wonder if Malcolm McDowell is going to play the grandpa.
probably he would suit.
That would
I
be
think
that'd be
Rob
great.
Zombie will kind of. I think he might. Some of those the casts may be a bit different to what we see there, but I think he
Yeah,
will probably stick with people that have been in a lot of his films because he knows what works with these actors and what doesn't
right.
work. And I think, yeah, I think that's kind of probably going to be the same sort of lineup that you'd expect. I just want it to be good. I'm just like I've still got that worry in my head. But
Yeah,
if it
is he
goes,
is he going to Rob Zombie it up?
yeah, like I would like it. Don't get me wrong. I want to see Herman Munster come walking at the beginning with the song, and he's got a girl's head there and her arms in his hand, and I'll be like, yeah. But that's not going to work for the popular, the commercial market. It's not that won't work, but we'll see.
Right. Well, okay, so guys, I have a couple extra stories, but I'm gonna nix them because we're running out of time here, and I my what I got to do. But we have all three seen Venom. You guys
Yes.
want to do some spoiler free discussion about
Yep.
Venom? Venom. Jeez.
Venom.
Venom. Let there be carnage. First thoughts, no spoilers. Seth, I'll let you take the floor.
I don't know. I don't know what I think about it because it's like I think what worked so much about the first one is, of course, everyone agrees, or at least almost everybody agrees, that Venom and Eddie's dynamic was the best part. And I think having that movie be that nonstop was fine, and it didn't disappoint me at least. Didn't disappoint me because most people don't know who Riot is,
Right.
Because I was telling you the other day, like when the trailer for the first one released and they showed Riot, and everyone was like, "Why is Carnage gray?" Like everyone,
Yeah.
everyone's like, "There's Venom and Carnage. There's more." Like no one really knows who Riot is, so like it was okay that the villain in that movie wasn't great because it didn't. I mean, maybe if you're like super into comic books and stuff, but if you're not, it didn't have much to live up to. The villain didn't, and the villain is not great in that movie. But the second one, it took the same route. It was like the villain was just as disappointing, and that is a bad thing considering this villain is Carnage.
No, Carnage.
This is Carnage. Like, Carnage is Venom's like arch enemy. that's who he is. He's also a Spider-Man villain fairly often, but like if you Google like who is Venom's arch enemy, it's always Carnage. And to have just the way Carnage was done in this movie is just wasn't great. Like
It wasn't
I think
great.
Woody Harrelson gave a good performance as Cletus Cassidy. Like he was creepy, he was awkward, he was like weird about it, and I thought that was really good because that's how Cletus Cassidy is. But just the Carnage stuff just wasn't great, and it's like like I said this too. I can't remember if I said this in the drive-by review or not, but I was watching every action scene that Carnage was a part of, and I'm like, wow, that's cool. Now just imagine if it was rated R.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I agree with that. Like it felt like there was so much left to be seen and told.
right.
Ramon, I think you agree with some of this.
I agree with everything you've just said, to be honest. I wasn't overly hyped for it. I am hyped because I love Carnage so much. But I think I'm not as disappointed as Seth maybe, is because the first film I was majorly hyped for, and I just thought it was and I really like the movie now, but because it's not because it isn't just rated R, but it just felt like so much was missing. This felt like, I think I texted you this, Steve, that it felt like they'd shot a movie that was 2.5 hours or 2 hours long and gone, every time we talk and there's a conversation of story, just cut it out. That's how it felt like. It just starts and it's like a steam train all the way through, which is fine, but there's no time. There was no time to breathe and have a moment of, I think that one of my favorite scenes in it, and it didn't hit it enough, I think it's with sorry, I can't give anything away. No, I can't give nothing away. Sorry. Sorry. There's a moment in it with what's his name? Woody Harrelson. It's quite an emotional scene with him, and I don't think they explored that enough with him, with his character. They just didn't explore enough with him, and I think there's a scene with him, and I was just like, this guy could give so much more to this role, and it's such a it's still a good movie. It's well worth watching. If you like the first movie, you'll like this one, but don't expect, like kind of what you guys said in your review, don't expect miracles. Don't expect to be going to watch Infinity War, because it's not.
Yeah.
So it's just it just is what it is, kind of thing.
I'm excited to talk spoilers about it on Tuesday, because I was saying that on Tuesday because it's going to be exactly what I just said, but like crank it up to 10, because I'm going to it's just,
you're gonna spew it out.
I'm going to just
I agree with you. And Rudy from Rudy's movie reviews he thinks this movie's a dumpster fire. So I'm very curious to see what he's gonna say, because he'll be on the live stream with
I think that's harsh. I think if I look at it from the perspective of when we've sat here last week and said, we wish it was R-rated, or we wish it was like the Venom and Carnage we want to see. If I look at it from that perspective, it's awful, because I want to see Carnage terrifying, and this guy's a serial killer. Like, he should be a lot more menacing, but because it's so toned down from that perspective, but for what it is, and watching it for what it is, it's not bad. It's okay. I would watch it again.
I'd probably give it another watch, but probably not too much more after that. But to be honest with you, my interpretation of this movie is like, when they said Andy Serkis was going to join in as a director, I was like, okay, good. We're going to get somebody, with, mocap experience, somebody who might have a darker take. I got really excited, but then, God bless, man, he didn't do anything. He didn't change anything about the movie. It could have been anyone directing that movie. And that's the part that really let me down. Not just that, but also the costume design of not Carnage, but Cletus Cassius Clay. What's his name?
Cletus Cassius.
God, that's it. My very brain just went wire there. But
you mean like the Hawaiian shirt and stuff like that, and the hairstyle?
Like, what is that? That's like low-hanging fruit. Like, oh, well, he's Carnage, so he's gonna wear a fiery shirt and pop the collar, and we're gonna have him have 4 different hairstyles in this movie. And what happened to the curly hair in the first movie? And
I know it's a bigger discussion to have with it all, but it's disheartening, I think is the right way to put it, is because when you look at Woody Harrelson when he's in the cell and you look in his eyes and you think, please just go the way we all want it to go and be really, really dark and let him run free, because it could have just been, it's one of it's disheartening because it could be or could have been something so it could have been brilliant,
Yeah.
but it weren't. I think the reason I kind of enjoyed it is my expectations. What Seth's been saying the last couple of weeks is have low expectations. You know what it is, and my brain was set like that because of what Seth said, and my brain's like, yeah, don't expect too much. So when I watched it, my brain was in that mode of like, yeah, it's going to be all right. So I quite enjoyed it. I think if I went into the movie expecting this big grand thing, I would have come away like, oh, that's disappointing. But
right, yeah. I overall, I as of now give this movie a solid C- or a solid C+, depending on which joke lands. Because like there's so many bad jokes and so many good jokes, and they just threw everything at the movie. Yes, watching it, popcorn, brain shut down, enjoyed it. I did enjoy that aspect of it, but like Woody Harrelson's performance was so menacing. I really would have liked to have seen that fleshed out.
Yeah,
but it wasn't. It was shoehorned in, and that's the most disappointing part of it for me.
There's two more things I want to say about this movie, and then everything else I have to say I will save for Tuesday. But these two things, one is small. One, the first shot we see of Carnage, like the first time Carnage is on screen, chills a little bit, because like it was like the smoke, and like you could see a silhouette with like the lights flickering in the background.
It reminded me of the scene in the original Venom movie where the police had Venom surrounded.
Yeah,
it was
like that.
It mirrored that.
And then when he walks out and like does his roar or scream or whatever, I'm like, yes, I'm like, that is awesome. And then there's the action scene that follows. But another thing that disappointed me about this movie, because I gave a good thing, so I'm gonna give a bad thing. And this isn't spoiler territory. It did the thing where it's like you got your two best friends, but Eddie and Venom, and every movie that has best friends does this. They're best friends. They fight a little bit, and then at one point, the best friends decide we need a break from each other, so they go their separate ways, and then obviously they become friends again at the end, and it's like I don't know. They did
that was a pointless storyline.
I don't know if I'd call it pointless. It was just disappointing to me personally.
Well,
because my main thing that I loved about the first one and that I was excited to see in this one was that constant dynamic between Eddie and Venom, and they spend a bit of the movie apart.
Well, this is close to spoiler territory where we're
really.
I think because they don't hint at that in the trailer, so like maybe but I did like that dynamic. I did like.
I think I think again to talk about it, it is going to sort of spoil things to go into it, because what you've just said there's made me think as well, and what they could have maybe done differently. So yeah, it's probably best to save it. But I think for me overall, it's a decent film. I just wish we had more of the Carnage that we all know and love and expected. Because Woody's, I really love that guy. He's such a quirky, crazy guy, and I just wish we would have had more of him with the reins off and just let him run free. Because an actor like him, have you ever seen True Detective? I think he's in the first season of True Detective with Matthew McConaughey, and he's just, I don't know, there's something about Woody that I've always liked. And
I love him as an actor.
And when he was announced as Cletus, I was just like, cool. And I remember in the first trailer, I missed you so much, and I just like, that's Woody being Woody, like that's the guy I want to see. But there weren't enough of him. Let him do his thing.
There wasn't. As I said in my review, and I'll go into a little bit more illustration here, but I feel like an accordion. You know how an accordion works, right? I feel like this movie could have been an expanded accordion, like where we get this full story with, all these different great storylines that make sense. But we got the closed accordion version where there's a small picture that gives you a synopsis.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and I was telling Seth in the car that this movie could have benefited from actually being shot as one movie, but put into 2 separate movies.
Yeah.
Because that's that. I mean, especially, well, about to do spoiler, but especially with the route they go to the end of this movie, I would have liked to have seen a lot more hashed out version, at least just Carnage. Like, you could spend a lot of time just building up that Carnage story. Instead, we get introduced to him halfway through the film and we just rush through all this shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Do you know what's crazy as well? And I think it's just, again, it's a personal feeling of when I watch movies like this. I think the reason I find it disheartening and frustrating is because, guys, we watch films like Logan comes out, and I love Logan. We see a film like The Dark Knight comes out, and you go, that can appeal to like kids who love Batman and a mature audience, and it's a serious story. When you look at Venom and Carnage, there was no, I know it's just being picky, and I like the movies for what they are, but with the amount of content behind these characters with the comics, we could like Tom Hardy on board and Woody on board. You really could have made something a lot more serious and darker, and it could have been one of those like The Dark Knight, and it would have been one of those movies people would have looked back and gone, that was a great film. And it's just a shame because studios know that style of serious works, so I don't understand, but they're going to make money. They're probably, they're going to make $1 billion from it probably anyway, so
yeah. Unfortunately, I think the formula of making the most money is actually probably going to pay off for the short run, maybe not for the long run. And that's the thing. I think the thing studios need to pay a lot more attention to is longevity of your movies actually bringing you more revenue over time than just that first burst of, get the highest ticket sales right now.
For example, sorry, I'll pass over to Seth 1 sec. Before you do, right, one thing I want to say is, with like everyone I won't give away spoilers, but when we're talking about crossovers and stuff like that, maybe if, say, Carnage went over to Marvel in terms of like fighting Peter Parker, say Venom went over, like at this moment in time, I don't particularly fear this version of Venom fighting Peter. He doesn't seem like someone, when you look at those 2 characters, look at how what's his name? Who was it in the Vulture in the first one? Michael Keaton was he was menacing to Peter in that car scene. I don't see this version of Venom coming up against Peter Parker and being like, oh my god, he's going to really terrify him. Yeah, he's a monster and everything, but I'm not going to be as scared. He should be afraid of him. Like, this dude Venom is terrifying. Like, he should be terrified of this guy, but I don't feel that from it. I don't feel that fear from this version of him. That's just
no, you're right, because Venom is he's become your friendly neighborhood Venom. He's a household name, and kids are playing with toys, and he's not a bad guy. He's an anti-hero, but he is.
Even in Spider-Man 3, for all of its faults and problems, that version of Venom at the end of Spider-Man 3, Venom was evil. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was evil, and that's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be this evil creature. And I don't feel that. I love Tom Hardy to bits. I love him, and I love these versions of Venom. But I think mixing that with, I don't know. I just don't feel.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just feel a bit weird about it. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I think we all feel a little bit weird about it.
Yeah.
I want to give it another shot, but we'll see. Okay, guys. So I got to wrap it up here. Is there anything else that we didn't touch base on that you guys wanted to talk about that I didn't bring up or anything like that?
I just want to say thanks again to Seth, because I've been playing Red Dead on the PlayStation 5 and my.
Have you?
Yeah, of course, bro. Like, damn right I have. I've been playing that, and I've nearly finished Jedi Fallen Order for the second run through on the hardest difficulty because I like punishing myself. Yeah, fantastic. Awesome. Really, really good.
Good suggestion, buddy. So, and I see Seth was timid about bringing up gaming stuff. He's like, yeah, but you don't really game, Dad. I'm like, yeah, but you do. Bring up game stuff. And I know Ramon plays games. So, like, even if I have to shut up and let you guys nerd out through games, that's what we're here for.
2 weeks from today, we'll be talking a lot about games, because 2 weeks from
2 weeks from
2 weeks from today is the day after DC Fandom.
Yep, we're gonna have a
So
lot to
we're-
talk about in 2 weeks.
And you little chipmunks, next Saturday I'm going to the game convention in London at a place called the XL Centre, where they've got all of them coming over. I don't know, it's called
Wow.
EGX. So I haven't got a clue. I might do a video there. I don't know.
Oh man, well,
Nice.
yeah, send me some content over. Like I can play videos during the live stream of some of your visit if you want, but we'll figure that stuff
You
out.
should. I tell you what you should
We'll
do
watch
right now. You guys right now, because you know I'm completely stupid and retarded. You guys right now should give me a dare. Give me a dare right now to something to film for me to do while I'm there for the show next week, and I'll do it. Seth, come on, come up with something to make me look completely stupid. Come on.
I don't know. I don't.
You know what? Okay, here's what
Go
we'll
on,
do.
Steve.
Let's put a pin in it,
All right then.
and let's hand this over to anybody that might be watching. Give us
I'm
a
not-
comment of
I'm not
what a
stripping
dare
naked though.
of what a dare that Ramon can do. And if we don't get a comment, Seth and I we'll put up our own little
Yeah.
ideas too. We'll let Ramon know in a day or two what dare he should do. But I want to see if anybody can comment.
It's
any
just
sort
something
of
to do.
dare.
If it'll be funny, do you know what I mean? For
Yeah,
next
yeah,
week, and I
something
can play.
classy. Nothing. Don't run around naked singing the Oscar Mayer Wiener song or anything weird
I'll-
like this.
I'll dress up as Mary Jane.
So, all right. Well, guys, I appreciate you again joining me every week here for Drive By News. I think we might be having some people join in on us in the next couple weeks.
Cool.
But I don't know if we're 100% certain. But I know the original Trinity, us three. Thank you so much, Seth from Film Trigger. My guy in the chair, Ramon from Hit or Miss TV. You can find him on YouTube and Twitch and the Facebooks and all that fun stuff. All those links are in the comments below. And yeah, so stay.
Before you do,
Yeah.
everyone, don't forget to watch Titans and Doom Patrol because they're amazing. Sorry, carry on.
Oh,
Because I forgot, it's just completely gone out of my
You've
brain.
been
But yeah,
you've been wanting to say that the whole time, haven't you?
I
Like
forgot,
this whole
I
2
forgot.
hours, you've been wanting to say that.
I forgot about them. But Doom Patrol, oh my god,
we watched the first episode. I don't
love
think
it.
Seth's into it as much as I am, but I'm ready. I'm eager to watch the other ones. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Oh, as always, my friends, stay trigger happy. Peace.